Right guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at tapping. This is really a short lesson aimed at people who've just got themselves into the technique of tapping. So I'm going to explain two different ways of approaching taps, especially concerning your left hand if you're obviously a right-handed guitarist who's going to tap with his right hand. And the idea is that you've got two really ways of approaching it. One which is a pull-off way, and the other one which is a hammer-on way. So let's have a look at both at the pull-off tapping, and I'll explain how to break that down. So the notes we're going to be taking for this exercise are very simple. We're just going to play an A minor triad note. So we're going to be on the E string, going 5th fret of E, 8th fret of E, and then the 12th fret of E, which is where we're going to be tapping for both exercises. The idea is that we're playing a root, minor third, and the fifth. So you're literally playing the A minor triad. So let's have a look at the first one, which is basically going like this. Right. The idea here on this first tapping is that we, just a quick note by the way, with regards to tapping, 90% of the time I tend to tap with my index finger and my pick goes in the middle like this of my middle finger. So in this case, but very often also I will, or 10% of the time I'll actually use my middle finger depending on what I'm playing before or after a phrase. So we got the tapping, the pick in our finger here. We're gonna basically place ourselves on the 12th fret here of E. I tend to, when I'm tapping, have the palm of my right hand sitting on top of the strings. I'm not using it as to avoid string noise. And I'm gonna go 12, drag the finger off so that I can hear the 8th fret of E where my pinky is, and then pull off into the 5th, okay? Now be very careful. A lot of the time when my students start getting into tapping, what they'll do is literally do a tap, which is they'll tap, and then the finger will just gently come off like this. No, the idea is you tap, push the finger out of the way so that you get that note, and then you get your 5th fret there. Remember, all three notes need to be equal volumes. This is not about reducing volume gradually. The point of this technique is to get a different kind of fluid sound and something that sounds very quick played at a higher speed. So we're getting 12, 8, 5, 12, 8, 5. So as soon as we've gone 12, 8, 5, we quickly tap back here, block the string so that there's no string noise coming through. We place back our pinky here, make sure there's no string noise, pull back off onto the 8, and then pull back on the 5. Okay, now that was exercise 1. Right, guys, so now we're going to look at exercise number 2, which is what I call a hammer-on tap. So it's going to be exactly the same three notes, so 12, 5, and 8. But this time what we're going to do, let me play it to you and I'll break it down. Okay, so what we're actually doing here is that we're tapping on the 12th, but instead of pulling back onto the 8th here with our pinky, we're going to take the tap off and end up on our root note on the 5th of E, and then hammer on the 8th of E. So that's where it's a hammer-on tap. Then we tap back. As soon as we've done the tap, the pinky comes off. We're playing the 5th again. Now, if you've watched any Van Halen videos where he's playing Eruption, most of the time he's using that particular form of tap, which is a hammer-on. So this is what it would sound like at full speed. Okay, so this is a very different sound to this one we had earlier. This is more akin to the solo of One by Metallica, whereas this is more like the Eruption type of sound. Okay, so those are the two techniques. Remember, is when you're playing this particular tap here, tap back and then silently make sure there's no string noise coming when you're removing your pinky to get that sound. I would say out of the two techniques, if you're working on this, the hammer-on one is probably the harder one to do because that's where there's a little bit of string noise that can come through. Anyway, I hope this was useful. Like I said, this is a really beginner's explanation to tapping. I'll be doing again more short videos like this. Until then, stay safe and stay metal.